So what is gaslighting? We've heard the term, but how often are we victims to it? Gaslighting is when you are manipulated to question yourself, your memory, and your perception of reality. So what do we do about it? Our next guest is here to tell us all about gaslighting phrases and how we can respond to them. Executive career coach Elizabeth Pearson joins us live.
Yes.
Elizabeth,
Elizabeth.
Thanks so much for having me back.
Welcome. Like, you have the best background ever. It's a very chill room, so let's just get into it. I want to know, what effect does gaslighting have on people?
I think it makes you feel a little less than. It might even kind of make you feel like you're going a little crazy, like some of the feelings that you have are totally invalid. You might even feel a little pathetic. But to what you guys just said prior, like, it's just a way to manipulate you, which is a way to control you. So it's really somebody else coming in and trying to define your reality for you.
It's really. I found out
it
comes from a movie where they kept turning down the gaslight, and she kept saying it's getting darker, and they kept saying no, it's not, and you're gaslighting them. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Gaslighting phrases are used in all different types of relationships. So I beg of you to tell me what to do here. When someone tells me, quote, "You're too sensitive, Elizabeth," or "You're making too big of a deal out of this."
Ooh, that one stings, right? And we probably hear it the most. I feel like that might be one of like the top 5 gaslighting phrases. And what that does is it's really trying to get you to refrain from speaking how you feel, right? It's making you question your emotions. And again, this is one where if somebody is saying this to you, a lot of times I think they might be trying to deflect from something that maybe they did that triggered you to have those emotions. So it can be this defense mechanism by the person who is trying to gaslight you to really get you to feel like you're overreacting to something and you might be a little bit crazy. And ultimately, they're trying to get you to stop from vocalizing your feelings and advocating for yourself. So I feel like, you know, a good response is, please don't try to invalidate my feelings. I know how I feel, and I'm not going to have you try to take those away from me or rewrite the narrative to suit you.
Wow, that's good.
Quick question.
Yeah, I don't know if I 100% agree.
What if, I was going to say, Jeff, you asked, but really quickly, what if you really do want to find out why this issue is such a big deal?
You say why, not you're having such a big deal.
How would you phrase that question instead of saying you're making too big of a deal? How do I
a better way to say that?
Right, yeah, what's like a better way to say what I just asked?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, I think a great way to say is please help me try to understand why you're having such a big emotion to this. Because for me, it seemed like blah, blah, blah. But I think when you start going in and saying like, you are overreacting, or you start with those you statements instead of help me understand, or I felt from my perspective that we were just having a light conversation and this really, you know, resulted in a big emotion from you. And I want to make sure that I'm not making you feel uncomfortable. So please try to help me understand.
That's so good.
That's a great answer.
Feels good.
That felt right.
Yeah.
I feel
I resonated.
But when I was like in sales, and I don't want to take up too much time, it was always like people would be very upset with you about something, and my boss would be like, don't make it a big deal. If you make it a big deal, it's become a big deal. So he'd get on the show and kind of deflect that right away, apologize, give him something free or whatever it was, and it'd be gone. They weren't so mad anymore. Isn't there a way you could also do that without saying, I hear your feelings, I know I'm an idiot, all that?
I think so, but I think ultimately, if we really are invested in the relationship, it depends on who you're communicating with, right? But if this is like a loved one, or if this is a colleague, that this is likely to come up again, I think it's better to just have the tough conversation and get to the root, maybe of why they're feeling this way. Maybe you've done it in the past, and this was just the time that they had this big reaction. And so if you really open the door to have a deeper conversation, you create that safe space for them to explain themselves of where this is coming from. But if it's just like a chance encounter and somebody blows up or gets really upset, I totally agree. It's fine just to say, you know, I'm sorry you feel that way, and what can I do to make you feel better? And then just keep it moving.
All right. Well, I guess I'm a little bit of a gaslighter. I didn't even know it. I'm trying to be positive, right? Maybe not so much at work, but in my outside life, I'm super positive. But is telling someone going through a rough patch to look on the bright side problematic? Because I do that in my real life. I'm like, listen, man, I give it to them straight, and I go, it's going to be okay. Let me tell you why. Let me point out the positives, and I'm kind of tough love. But I guess that's not great.
Yeah. I think, again, it depends on the situation. And listen, we're all probably gaslighters. Like, I love the silent treatment, which is the ultimate gaslighting. It's just really
That's my
totally
go-to.
invalidating somebody. just totally dismissing them. But I feel like there is this flip side of gratitude and the silver lining. Some people call it like the Ted Lasso toxic positivity effect. And when you do come in and say, but look on the bright side, you have X, Y, and Z. You know, if you were in that situation and you were sharing and being vulnerable with somebody and they came in and said like, yeah, but, that but really does invalidate those feelings.
Wow.
So I think it's okay to say, you know, that must be really hard that you're going through that. I would love to be able to help you in some way. Here's some things that I'm noticing, which could help pull us to this other side, right? X, Y, and Z. But I think if we just try to kind of gloss over it with, you should be grateful for it. We do this a lot with women, right? Just be grateful for the job. Just be grateful for where you live or your healthy kids or this or that, even if your kids are acting crazy. You know, it really just kind of like tamps down that person and is really saying, I don't want to know your feelings.
Elizabeth, we could talk to you
have to
forever.
come
We're
back.
facing a hard out.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us
I have
today.
so many questions. That's
to our viewers,
awesome.
to learn more from Elizabeth, don't worry, you can pick up a copy of her book, Career Confinement, wherever books are sold. Thank you, Elizabeth. You got to
Great
come back.
answers.
Get the
Great
book. We'll be right
answers.
back.
Thank you.